back. Well, at least I'm back. The MMA show has been on hiatus for a little bit now, but it's time to get the show back in the MMA show. So here we are. I'm Jason Endurance. Ember Blaze is actually on vacation in Australia at the moment. So while she's in the land down under bare knuckle boxing kangaroos, let's get on with the show. Keep it simple. Let's do the heavyweight top 10. We're going to start off with the wild card, and that's Antonio Bigfoot Silva. While he didn't make this list, you could easily swap him out with 10, 9, or even 8. He is 16-3, 3-2-0 in his last 5 fights, and what's really interesting is his next opponent is Cain Velasquez. Now that's a high-profile fight, so you may be asking, why isn't Silva on your list? Well, it's because his next opponent is Cain Velasquez. And quite honestly, I do not like Bigfoot's chances in this fight. Now let's get down to it. It's CHEICK KONGO at number 10. He's 17-6-2, has a professional kickboxing record of 21-2, and he is 3-1-1 in his last 5 fights, and that's 2 back-to-back victories. One, of course, was that spectacular knockout come from behind victory over Pat Barry, and then there's the decision over Matt Mitrione. 57.7% significant strike accuracy, and that's number 5 in the UFC according to Fight Metric. Even more, he's ranked number 4 for takedown accuracy with 66.7%. Up next, I'd like to see him face a top 10 contender, but he's slated to go up against the hard-hitting Mark Hunt. While the fight should provide fireworks, it won't do much to propel KONGO up the ladder. And at number 9, it's CARWIN. He's 12-2 and 3-2-0 in his last 5 fights. While he has 7 first-round knockouts, he's unfortunately on a 2-fight losing skid. Even more depressing for CARWIN is he's not going to get a chance to get back into the W column anytime soon, as he's on the shelf until at least mid-2012. He recently had back surgery, and that's going to delay any sort of comeback. Having said that, with the competition in the heavyweight division ramping up, soon you won't be on anyone's top 10 list with a losing record. Which is actually a nice segue for number 8, which is bound to get mixed reactions. It's FEDOR EMELIANENKO. Some of you were saying, what the fuck? Some of you were saying, oh fuck yes, and some of you were saying, why isn't he number 1? He's 33-4-0 in his career, won no contest. The myth and the legend of the indestructible Russian was shattered at the end of his run in Strikeforce, however. He lost 3 straight and wasn't re-signed by the organization. After contemplating retirement, FEDOR decided to continue on with his career and has now won 2 straight in a row. While his 2 opponents weren't anywhere near top-tier competition, you can't deny his decade of excellence. And that's the thing that really bothers me about MMA fans in general, is as soon as a fighter loses, all of a sudden he's just a piece of shit. Which is really why I never frequent any MMA forums at all, like Shirtard or whatever else you have. It's just a bunch of keyboard warriors who have no idea what the warrior spirit is all about. Anyway, getting back on point, who's next for FEDOR? Well, if it's not in the UFC, it just isn't going to matter, unfortunately. Without worthy competition for him to fight, mixed with the ever-growing shark tank of a heavyweight division, I predict FEDOR to fizzle from the rankings. Next up is Daniel Cormier at number 7. He's 9-0, undefeated, 6 first-round finishes, and he's probably the best wrestler in the heavyweight division. Not only was he an NCAA Division I All-American, he's also a wrestling Olympian. He came 4th place in 2004, and in 2008 he was named the team captain. And not only can he wrestle, the dude is very heavy-handed, which is very bad news for any opponent. So far in his career, his takedown defense is 100%, which means if you're not liking what he's delivering on the stand-up, taking him down might not be an option. But then again, if anyone can do it, it's going to be number 6, Josh Barnett. He's 31-5-0 in his MMA career, 26 career submissions, which is huge, and he's on an 8-fight win streak. Barnett breezed through the Strikeforce Heavyweight Grand Prix all the way to the finals, and when he's up against Cormier, I expect him to give him the fight of his life. It's going to be the toughest fight that Barnett's had in quite some time, but at the end of the day, I think that his experience is going to play a huge factor and he's going to come up on top. Next up is FABRICIO WERDUM at number 5. He's 14-5-1, 4-1-0 in his last 5 fights, and he is arguably the best heavyweight BJJ practitioner in mixed martial arts. He's a 2007 and 2009 Abu Dhabi Combat Club Submission Wrestling Champion. He also came 2nd place in 2011. And if you're wondering what all that means, Basically, the ADCC is the most prestige grappling competition in the entire world. WERDUM has re-signed to the UFC, and his next opponent is going to be none other than Big Country Roy Nelson. Coming up next at number 4 is a former UFC champion, it's Frank Mir. Personally, I'm not a huge fan. I think he comes off kind of like a douche, but I respect the hell out of him as a fighter. He's 16-5, 4-1-0 in his last 5 fights, and he is the first man to knock out and submit Antonio Minotauro Nogueira. And yes, I see submit is actually spelled wrong there, but that was on purpose because I was actually thinking some bitch when I was writing it. Yeah, that's my story, I'm sticking to it. If I were a UFC matchmaker, I probably would have booked Frank Mir up against Cain Velasquez next. But they booked Cain Velasquez up against someone entirely different, which means Frank Mir is going to have to just wait around for a suitable opponent. And while we're talking about Cain Velasquez, let's keep talking about Cain Velasquez because he is number 3. The former UFC champion is 9-1 in his career, and according to Fight Metric, get this, these stats are pretty scary. He lands 7.44 significant strikes per minute, and that's more than anyone else in the UFC. 61% significant striking accuracy, just below Anderson Silva, and 88% takedown defense. So basically what this means is not only is Cain Velasquez letting his hands blitzkrieg, with most of those bombs finding their target, if you try and take him down, chances are he's going to snuff your shot and smash your face long time. That is, unless you shut his lights out first. And although some call him the Terminator, Cain Velasquez has had it happen to him. And if you don't remember that, you probably blinked. So go ask Junior Dos Santos. But before we get ahead of ourselves, let's stop at number 2 for the Reem, Alistair Overeem. He's 36-11 in his MMA career, and he hasn't been defeated in over 4 years. He's on an 8-fight win streak, and he's the Strikeforce Dream and K1 kickboxing heavyweight champion. He just dismantled and retired Brock Lesnar. Up next, he has a date with the UFC Heavyweight Championship. And that title is held by none other than number 1, Junior Dos Santos. He's 14-1 in his MMA career and currently on a 9-fight win streak. According to Fight Metric, 6.8 significant strikes landed per minute, just under Cain Velasquez, but obviously enough to win the championship. Some people will question Junior's ground game, but the fact of the matter is he's a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt under the Nogueira brothers. I think we're going to see a little bit of it in his upcoming fight with Alistair Overeem, or he's going to knock him out. Yeah, that's my prediction. Junior Dos Santos is walking out the champion. Now keep in mind with any top 10 list, none of them are going to be 100% accurate. This list isn't 100% accurate. In fact, it took me quite a while to come up with this list and it changed quite a few times, but this is the closest I could come up with personally.
Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, you're cool, and fuck you, I'm out.
Now with that being said, if you think you have a better list, now's your chance. You can pipe down below, because that's all the time we have for today. Stick around. We are not going to be just doing top 10 lists. I've got quite a few ideas up my sleeve. So in the meantime, you can rate, comment, subscribe. You can find us on Facebook. We're on Twitter. We are everywhere. Just do it, and we'll see you next time.
Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, you're cool, and fuck you, I'm out.